Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back. So, again, I am going to be reading to you the story, What is Money? If you have access to pull this up and listen while I read out loud, please do so. Otherwise, just listen along. Alrighty? What is money? Long before money existed as we know it today, people traded things to get what they needed. For example, if you had a goat and you needed grain, you would try to make a trade. You would offer your goat to someone in exchange for grain. If she wanted a goat, she would trade. You would both determine whether the grain and the goat had the same value. If you agreed on the value, you were in luck. You would receive the grain and she would get the goat. However, this method didn't always work. For one thing, the person with grain might not want to exchange it for a goat. Instead, she might want honey. Therefore, you would have to trade your goat with someone who had honey. Once you obtained the honey, you could trade it with the person who had the grain. All of this would take some time, yet, for centuries, this was how people acquired what they needed. Over time, to make trading easier, people began using certain objects for money. They would give different values to different objects. In some societies, people who worked for others earned their pay in shells. Everyone agreed that you could give shells to someone and get grain or other things in return. In other places, people paid for items using beads. In Rome, people earned salt in exchange for work. When they went to purchase an item, they would give a merchant an amount of salt as payment. Coins were first used in what is now Iraq. Paper money was first used in China. Interesting. So, what we are to do today with that story is that we are to identify the main idea of the text. What is money? All right. So, to determine the main idea, if you listen to the previous video, which you should definitely listen to before you listen to this one, is we must first identify the topic. Now, in 1 to 3 words, what is it that you can tell me that this story is about? Well, this story is about money, right? The topic would be money. It's who or what the passage is about. Now, to identify the point, what is this passage telling us about money? What is the author trying to get us to know about the money? Okay? Well, from my understanding, the author wants us to know how we used it to trade, how we use it to receive goods. So it first tells us about how if you have a goat, that you would have to trade the goat for for grain, but if that person didn't want the grain, well then, and they wanted honey, well then you'd have to find somebody who had honey that wanted to go and do all these changes. And then it goes on to tell us that some people used beads and shells and salt, and that just this is telling us about different ways that people exchanged goods. Okay, so the topic is money, and the point is how it is exchanged for goods. Okay, again, the topic is money, and the point is how it's exchanged for goods. Okay, so when we put our topic plus our point together, we get a sentence. Money and how it exchanges things for goods. Okay, so money exchanges things for goods. Boom. Main idea. Okay, so in the text, what is money? You are to underline the key details that support this main idea. and then write to explain how the details support the main idea statement. Now again, I understand that not all of you have access to it. If you do, don't worry about underlining anything because you don't have a physical copy of it, but you can write down and explain what the key details are and how they support the main idea. Okay, I gave many when I told you the main idea, so you could just rewind and listen to some of the details that I said. Alrighty. But in your writing, you must explain how those details support the main idea. All right. I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. And I also hope that you get your packet today. Alrighty. I will be seeing you all tomorrow. Happy Monday again, y'all. Toodles.